Hello everybody, my name is Peter Anton and I am an art student. So in this video I'm going to talk about, do you need to study the human figure? Do you need to draw from life? Right, because that's one thing you hear everyone saying is that, let me adjust this camera. That's one thing you always hear everyone saying for new students is study from the human figure. That's all you need to get good at drawing. And so when I was a newer student, that's what I would try to do, and I would focus on the figure because that's what you're supposed to do. But what I want to say is that if you don't have the fundamentals, if you don't understand form, and if you don't understand how to put together, how to simplify things, right? For example, a potted plant. How do you simplify a potted plant into a cylinder and, loops and flattened planes for the leaves? If you don't understand, if you're just drawing things flat with no understanding of form, then drawing the figure might not be the best thing for you. What you would want to practice before you do the figure is to practice deconstructing things into simple forms. Because if you just start doing figure drawing too early, you're just going to be copying the lines, trying to copy it line for line, rather than understanding the structure underneath. So I don't think it's necessarily true that figure drawing is the way to get good at art. I think it's definitely an important step to getting good at art, because you're practicing creating moving, or you're practicing creating like almost robots, right? And by robots, I mean things that move organically, like machines with moving parts, right? So, for example, this motion of the finger, how the joints work, right? And these apply to all things. These apply to insects. Like this is an insect leg, right? If you could draw a finger, you can draw an insect leg, right? But you could also learn that from any number of things, right? Any animal, any insect would teach you that mechanistic thing. The reason the human body is such a great tool is that we have such a discerning eye for when things are wrong. So if you get good at drawing the human figure, you'll be able to draw a lot of other things. At least it's on an anatomical level, right? The rendering might be different. Like, for example, a wolf with fur, you might need to learn how to draw that fur, or a sheep, right? You might have to learn how to draw wool. But the anatomy component of it is going to be less complex than a human, because we have such a discerning eye for human anatomy that when the slightest thing is wrong, we will notice. Everyone will notice. It's very obvious even if you haven't trained in art. So that makes it a great tool for improving our skills, because we can see the slightest defect, whereas we can get away with a lot of stuff with animals, which is why I would advise beginners to start with animals, because you can build your confidence on those, and then you say, right, so people aren't going to notice when something small is wrong with the head of a goat versus the head of a sheep. Right, they're not going to be exactly sure of the differences. So if you give a sheep goat ears or something, it's going to be like not a big deal. People won't notice as much. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, right, why study the human figure? Well, the other reason would be animals don't pose for you. Humans are such a great subject because they can stand and, for example, they can hold a pose like this, and I can keep holding this. But good luck getting a dog or a horse to sit in a position like that, a dynamic position like that, for a long period of time. Good luck getting a horse to make an expression that you want to capture and you want to draw. So you want to draw a surprised horse from life. Well, a person can go like, and I can hold that for a while, right? But a horse won't do that. So that's another reason why we draw from the human figure. And I would say, do you have to draw from the human figure? I don't think so. Well, okay, correction. Not everybody who wants to learn how to draw things needs to study the human figure. However, if you want to draw humans, you do need to study the human figure if you want to operate at a high level, okay? So for example, an architect, I don't think an architect needs to study the human figure. I don't think someone who draws cars and robots. Well, maybe robots if they're humanoid robots, but say cars. I don't think someone designing vehicles really needs to understand how to draw a human. It doesn't really matter. If you're just going to draw cars, inorganic things, you don't really need to draw humans. So why waste your time if that's not what you're going to go into? But if you're going to do humans, if you're going to draw humans, then you need to practice drawing humans, okay? That's when it becomes important. And that's what most people mean when they say you need to draw the human figure. Life drawing is very important, and that's why it's heralded as this, great, wonderful thing that every artist needs to do, is because most artists do want to do the figure. But it's not a given for every field, okay? The other thing would be, do animal artists need to draw the human figure, right? If you're only drawing wolves and sheep and elephants, do you need to learn how to draw the human figure? Well, I would actually say yes. If you're going to draw animals, if you're going to draw monsters, right? A lot of monsters, if you look at a game like Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of the creatures and the monsters, like say a minotaur, are very humanoid with just an animal's head, but the body is pretty much just a humanoid with modified proportions. If you look at say, like like this eagle monsters, right? They're just people with features of a bird, but you do need to have that basis of the human form. And even if you don't draw those humanoid monsters, say you just want to be a wildlife artist, do you need to draw the human form? I would say yes for a couple reasons. One is it gives you the option of incorporating humans into your animal art. Say you want to draw a person holding a bird, you have that option. Say you want to draw a person riding on a bird, on a giant bird, right? Do you need to know how to draw people? And even if you don't have people in your art, right? I still would do figure drawing because of what we talked about before, where animals won't pose long form for you. So if you want to draw from life, right, you can practice drawing humans, right, in these dynamic poses and from life, and they'll hold the position for you, right? And animals won't do that. So it gives you experience drawing and simplifying anatomy from life, and that it's all the same parts, right? A human is, this is just, if I'm a horse, right, I just modify the anatomy so that I'm like this, right? That I'm just walking on my fingers, right? But if I went into all fours like this, right, I've pretty much got the same anatomy as a horse. It's just the proportions are different and it's just moved around, but it's all the same. The names of the bones are the same, the names of the muscles are the same, so it's all transferable, and so you get experience. So in summary, do you need to draw the human figure? Yes, if that's what you want to do, right? If it makes you better at what you're trying to do as an artist, yes, study the figure. If you want to go into something completely unrelated to the human figure, do you need to do it? I don't think so. Architecture, vehicle design, no. So think about what your goals are. Think about if figure drawing is going to help you get there. And then if you don't understand form, maybe hold off on figure drawing. You can do a little bit of it, but I'd hold off on diving into it unless you already understand how to break things into simple forms and you have some understanding of perspective, because otherwise you're just going to be copying and you're not going to learn anything, really. So that's my take. All right, goodbye, take care, love to you all, and I will see you next time.